Good Monday morning. There is a Christmas in the air that I am resisting. I find it interesting when you survey people on their favorite season, how you have fall people and spring people, and I am a spring summer person. And I was walking through the yard and saw the leaves beginning to change on a lot of the trees, and the crepe myrtle, all of its blooms, it has like, I can see it from here, probably 8 or 10 blooms left. And I found this deep sadness come over me at the thought of letting go of summer and the fullness that's been in the house, and the life and the laughter and the kids and all of those beautiful things that summer can bring, and my heart doesn't want to let it go. And then recently I found myself grieving over a family relationship that we've all kind of lost and not been in relationship with. And I realized I hadn't fully let my heart grieve the loss of that. And so I did the other day in a car ride home. And when I was sensing the grief of letting go of summer, I was asking the Lord, I was like, would you reframe this for me? Would you give me a different way of looking at it? And I kind of sensed the Lord say, why don't you just allow your heart to grieve it? Why don't you give your heart permission to lament? Lament is a word that we hear often describing in the psalm, a psalm of lament, where it's a psalm where the writer expressed this deep grief or deep sorrow over the loss of something. And oftentimes we resist grieving the loss of things because we're afraid we're going to land there. And we're afraid that if we really allow our heart to be undone, that we might not recover. And when we do that, then we resist what our heart needs most, which is the expression of the grief or the pain or the sorrow that it feels. And if we don't get the pain or the grief or the sorrow out, rest assured it's going to come out in another way. So Scripture, in the beautiful gift that it is, it gives us these prayers we can pray, because sometimes when you're in a season of grief or pain, you don't even know how to pray. And so it's almost like the psalmist did it for us, and they provide us these prayers that we can pray, and they give us permission to let our frustration with the Lord, why hasn't this relationship in our family been restored? Why is it still severed? Why is it still broken? Lord, why can we not send our kids to school and know they're safe? I need to grieve that. Why is innocence lost so young? It may be something we need to grieve. And so we can express it with all its realness and rawness before the Lord. Lord, why is my broken body not well? Whatever the grief or the lament may be, give it to him. Ask him the question. Speak the hidden part out loud. He's big enough. He can handle it. And then the beautiful thing about the laments and the Psalms is that they come back to, oh, but I know how faithful you are, because I can look back and see how faithful you've been. See, when we allow our hearts to grieve and lament the way the Lord desires them to, then the Lord has the ability to bring us back to what we know is true. And what we know is true is looking back at the track record when previous relationships in our lives have been broken, to know that He came through. He gave us the grace we needed, the strength we needed. Sometimes He brought restoration. Sometimes He just brought revelation about who He is and what He is and how He's capable to strengthen us and sustain us even when relationship isn't restored. Because sometimes it isn't. But we keep praying, we keep seeking, and it's okay to grieve. In fact, what's more dangerous is when we don't allow our hearts to grieve. So, I give you permission today to lament. And lamenting doesn't always have to be reframed. I think that's what the Lord was highlighting to me. You don't have to always reframe your grief. Sometimes it just is what it is. But I will be present with you in it. So, maybe you like fall. If so, good for you. Me, I'm going to grieve having to put on sweaters and watching the leaves turn. And that's okay, because snow will be here soon.